What's up, home dogs? In today's video, we're going to be ranking all of the main Quicksilver costumes in both the MCU and the Fox MCU, the FCU, I guess. So, stay tuned. Before we begin, just a reminder, this is just my personal opinion. So remember to compose yourself in the comments section below because it's really not that important.
No! Remember, there are certain objective factors even when it comes to costume design!
Please, for the love of God, find something that will consent and have sex with it before it's too late. Right, so it's weird to have a ranking that consists of just 6 places, but fuck it, let's be brave here. In 6th and last place as the worst Quicksilver cinematic costume, we have the X-Men Apocalypse costume. That is exactly what that costume does to me. It's not bad, it's just boring. It's a boring-ass costume. The trend of putting superheroes in generic black armor had died like half a decade before this movie came out. Nothing about this costume screams Quicksilver, nor does it have any kind of personality to it. Just an incredibly dull costume. In 5th place, we have Quicksilver's costume from Dark Phoenix. Now, admittedly, this was just a uniform that the other mutants wore, but, can I make a confession quickly? I understand people really saw these costumes as a downgrade, but I quite liked them. I understand that they're very fabric-y and non-functional and they take away the X-Men's individuality a little bit, but they're also incredibly old school and I really appreciate that. It's nice to have the yellow back on the X-Men outfits, even if Quicksilver isn't really known for wearing the yellow. It's not like the perfect execution of this look by any stretch, but it's not bad. Definitely not as good as the yellow jumpsuits that we had in X-Men First Class, I will say that. And as well as that, those costumes managed to retain some degree of individuality, whereas these are all just the exact same costume worn by different X-Men. Bit of a shame, but by no stretch bad, I actually quite like this. In 4th place, we have Quicksilver's costume from X-Men Days of Future Past. I remember when this costume was first revealed and everyone's first reaction was but then the film came out, and I guess it's helped by the fact that the film is good, but like this design, this look, does definitely play into Quicksilver's personality in this one. I mean, that's the thing, is you can kind of tell a lot about what this guy's about and what he's like based on this costume here. And it is an aesthetic, I'll give it that. Like, it's not a bad look, it really grew on me in the end. I mean, it's possibly helped by the fact that Quicksilver was the best thing about this movie, but like, just keep in mind, if he didn't have the personality that he had, this costume would look ridiculous, but it plays into that quirky, eccentric, retro personality that they gave to him in the film, so it actually works really well in the end. One of those cases where context is everything. In 3rd place, we have Quicksilver's costume from Avengers Age of Ultron. What was quite interesting at the time is I remember everybody was reacting very negatively towards the costume reveal of Quicksilver over in X-Men Days of Future Past, and Avengers Age of Ultron did come out at a similar time. So in the pre-publicity for both those films, we got a look at the Fox Quicksilver and the MCU Quicksilver, and I remember at the time, I think reaction to MCU's Quicksilver was a lot more positive. And it's weird how times have changed, with now people saying, no, the Fox one was way better, but what surprises me is that people even really dislike this Quicksilver's costume now, looking back. Now, I will say this is definitely a less expressive Quicksilver outfit than the Days of Future Past one, because this is a less expressive Quicksilver. It's safe to say that MCU's Quicksilver was the weaker of the two, but I must admit I really liked his attire in the final battle of Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I've heard all the people saying it's not really a super suit, and no, it's not. It's a reinterpretation of Quicksilver's super suit into more of a sports gear. I do think they could have given him something more functional than jeans to wear, like maybe some blue tracksuit bottoms that kind of match the pattern of the top half. But as it stands, it is immediately recognizable as an adaptation of that classic blue Quicksilver outfit, and I really like the design. I also just I like that it looks comfy, you know? Yeah, this version of the character definitely leaves less of an impression, but I think this costume looked really good. In 2nd place, we have Quicksilver, or, we'll talk about that later. we have his costume from WandaVision. So the 6th episode took place at Halloween, and we got to see some homemade takes on the classic Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Quicksilver costumes. So this does in many ways fall down to preference, but to me, homemade superhero costumes look incredible. Especially when they really closely reflect what the original costume looked like, but it's done in a way that is clearly put together. I remember in the promo in lead up to WandaVision, we did see the Wanda Halloween costume and Vision Halloween costume, but I remember in the episode, I didn't even know that Evan Peters' Quicksilver was actually even going to be in this. So then when he rocked up in this episode and then rocked up in his Quicksilver Halloween costume, I jumped for joy. I was thrilled. And the costume looks so good, and it leads me to wonder, like, okay, so superhero costumes traditionally look functional these days. They look like they serve a purpose. But what if a superhero character wore a costume just for the sake of having a superhero costume, giving themselves an iconic look? You'd probably end up with something like this, and I personally think, why not? It was also just great to see Evan Peters in a classic Quicksilver outfit, as well as very few of the outfits he had worn in the Fox X-Men universe really resembled the classic Quicksilver. So to see him in the most classic Quicksilver look that we're ever going to get in this, awesome. Also, he was a lot of fun in this episode, and he really left a good impression. We'll talk about that later on. So, in first place, we have the Quicksilver costume from the very, very end of X-Men Apocalypse. Probably the most frustrating things about Fox's side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was how they would tease the perfect costumes, or comic-accurate costumes at least, and then not use them. I mean, okay, it was always hit and miss. I mean, they did the same with Magneto at the end of First Class, but there's no way anybody would have taken him seriously in that costume. But then we have the finale costumes of X-Men Apocalypse, and just look at these. They look amazing. Why did they not wear these for the whole movie? It's so much better. And Quicksilver is no exception. So he's wearing what looks like a functional tech suit, which is great and all, but it still really speaks for Quicksilver's personality. He still has a sense of individuality in this costume. It's got that classic Quicksilver color scheme of blue and silver.
Actually, Quicksilver in the original classic comics wore green!
Duly noted, there's a difference between classic and original. But beyond that, just look at this. Look how good this looks, and he never wore it again. Oh, that's frustrating. But I mean, of course, if the MCU were to do some kind of multiverse thing with the Fox MCU and bring back this Quicksilver, they could do it in this outfit, but I guess we'll just have to talk about that later, won't we? I'm not disappointed. I'm just disappointed. So yeah, on a whole, for a character that's typically just been a side character, in fact, yeah, he's just been a side character the entire time, Quicksilver has had quite the wardrobe, and I'm not even counting all of the costumes here. Like, I'm not just counting his casual Fridays.
But does his casual outfit from X-Men Days of Future Past not count?
It's a hard thing to do this sometimes. But what do you guys think? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link tree to all the different websites you could possibly need, including the ones where you can help support the channel so that I can continue doing this without starving to death. And on that lovely note, thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.